Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to The Night Editor, the show where I answer your questions and also talk about the nuts and bolts of what it takes to create a good story. I am your host, Kat Rocha, CEO and Editor-in-Chief of 01 Publishing. You can check out our books at 01publishing.com, including my own Lovecraftian anthology, Whispers from the Abyss, that includes such authors as Dennis Detweiler, Greg Van Eekhout, J. Ishiro Finney, and many more that you will love and enjoy. Again, that's 01publishing.com, also found on Amazon and Audible. Now to the topic of the day. We are going to discuss things I have learned about writing and creating stories from Mystery Science Theater. For those of you who have not seen much of Mystery Science Theater, I highly recommend that you go check it out. You can purchase most episodes from Shout Factory, but you can also find them here on YouTube. Many episodes from Mystery Science Theater cover different humorous topics, but they also have very good critiques of what does and does not work when creating a story. And today we are going to go over 3 of them that I have learned. The first one is...
And they had to pad out the rest of the film with all that killing.
Oh no, Crow. It wasn't killing that padded out the film.
No?
Only love pads the film.
Taken from the film Side Hackers. This is when an author shoehorns in a romantic subplot into a story that was never constructed to have one in the first place. Most often than not, the romance elements are inserted to pad out the story or add anything from drama, a reason to humanize a character, or justify their actions. This usually results in all story momentum suddenly slowing down to a crawl, if not full-on stopping, so that our protagonist can have a sweet moment with their significant other, or spend long drawn-out pages thinking mournfully about a lost love, and it honestly does nothing to really further the story. The example from Mystery Science Theater is in, as I mentioned before, Side Hackers. Now, before you blow up the comments, I am aware that Mystery Science Theater edited this film quite a lot, but the trope is still true. Our hero, Ross Hagen, spends many long hours in the woods with his girlfriend. Happy music plays, they roll on the grass in slow motion. A little of this is perfectly fine, but the amount of it suggests they needed to pad out the runtime. Then, when she is murdered, he spends long, drawn-out scenes having flashbacks to the scenes of happier times, of them rolling around in the grass, of them being together, and just plain frolicking and wasting time. A little of this is fine, but there are so many of these scenes and they go for so long that it makes his Death Wish style revenge rampage seem more like he's bored with the idea rather than a tension-filled bloodbath. As for my own example, a book I was reading had an actual clock ticking down to the biblical apocalypse. Our protagonists had less than 12 hours before everything was literally going to hell. Yet, the author decided to halt time in order to tell the girl that he was crushing on that he loved her. This turned into an entire chapter of the two of them having a heart-to-heart before bumping uglies. All sense of urgency dissipated in an instant. It left the reader feeling ambivalent to the impending apocalypse. The best way to avoid this is by laying out your plot. Don't feel like you have to have a romance element in your story. It's not required for good reading. If romance is a key element, plan ahead of time. Let it develop naturally over the first and second acts so that it doesn't slow down the momentum of the third. Next one.
Well, hey, I just realized they never talked to the dead.
Oh, I got around to that.
This is from the film The Dead Talk Back. This trope is often committed by writers who are trying to mislead their audience or give a false impression. I have most often seen it in stories that promise a supernatural element only for it to be something mundane. However, there is a right way and a wrong way. In Mystery Science Theater's The Dead Talk Back, the film is filled with seances and spirit radios and other tropes of the spiritualist movement to talk with the spirit of a murdered woman. The film even begins with a metaphysician excited that he gets to test his theories in this case. You find in the end, this was all a ploy devised by the police to scare the murderer into confessing. There were no ghosts whatsoever. My other example is an incredibly famous film, House on Haunted Hill with Vincent Price. Now, I actually really enjoy this film. However, it does fall prey to this trope. In the film, Vincent knows his wife is plotting to either kill him or convict him of murder. The two of them set up elaborate traps to scare the other to death. However, we are told that the house actually is the site of a murder and suggests that it is currently haunted. One of the guests even is somebody who supposedly spent the night there and was nearly driven mad by the ghosts. By the end, you find out about half the things that are experienced are all done by Vincent Price and his wife and their little feud. But that leaves a lot of questions unanswered. Is this really a haunting or not? The movie leads you to believe that no, it's not, and yet ends with spooky laughter and a question to the audience of maybe the ghosts will come after you. This is absolutely terrible and, quite frankly, speaks to the creators not knowing themselves. Is the place haunted or not? How do you solve that? You come up with that answer first. Figure out first, is the place really haunted? Is there something supernatural taking place? Is there whatever you are wanting to happen, not necessarily supernatural, taking place? Any series of events that you have, especially if you're trying to mislead your reader, needs to be able to be explained logically later. And finally,
come on, dead people know what's going to happen here.
This taken from the movie Werewolf. This is when it's painfully obvious to the audience of what is going to happen next.
Okay, she's a werewolf. I think we're all ahead of you, movie. Sorry.
I don't think I need to go too far into this one. We've all seen at least one movie or read at least one book where the quote reveal or where a certain event happens was so obvious you guessed it a long time ago. In the case of Werewolf, there's a long drawn out scene where the female protagonist is walking up a flight of stairs and all you see is her feet. Quite frankly, considering the events we had just gone through, it is painfully obvious she is now a werewolf.
Okay, movie, she's a werewolf. We really got to call time on this one. I'm sorry.
Well, no. Maybe she turned into Eddie Van Halen, see?
And that she is going upstairs to meet her werewolf lover. The other line that Mystery Science Theater used for this particular scene, especially because of how long it took her to walk up this flight of stairs, was the phrase,
"Surprise ending written and conceived by a tube worm."
I think that pretty well encompasses it all. And that is it. 3 things that I learned from Mystery Science Theater. I hope that you enjoyed that. Please put in the comment section your thoughts and if there's any questions that you may have regarding writing as well. Please check out all of our books at 01publishing.com, specifically Whispers from the Abyss, volumes 1 and 2, along with the audio. And I will see you all in the next one.